I'm Lisa, the artist behind Lachri Fine Art. It is Tuesday, so I'm here to critique one of your original paintings or drawings. If you have an original painting or drawing that you would like to submit for critique, head over to my website, lachri.com/critiques. That link is below in the video description, and you can submit your work there. Today's submission comes from Rayarn Adam, who has painted this in airbrush on a pillowcase. And my pillowcases suddenly seem way less cool right now. She also has a YouTube channel here, and I will have a link to that in the video description as well. I love how you have balanced out the dragon side with the human side. Really, really well done. I like the transition from one to the other. Really good. Your contrast, especially on the dragon side, is beautiful. Looking at a few things we can do to improve on this even more. Looking at her human side, it feels a bit unfinished, especially compared to the dragon side. You've got the start of where the shadows and highlights go. Your highlights are all there, but your shadows aren't quite strong enough. If you came through and hyped up your contrast a bit more, it'll give that side a lot more depth. The human side feels flat compared to the dragon side because the dragon side has so much detail, so much shading, and then the human side is so pale. Get some of those shadows in there a little bit more. Now for her hair, it feels very stringy because you've drawn in all of the individual strands, which doesn't give it a very natural look. When you're painting hair, you want to think of it in terms of clumps, abstract shapes. Look at a reference photo, look at how that hair looks. You don't see all the individual strands. You'll see a few strands, but not that many. If you do too many of those individual strands, it gives it that very stringy look. Make it look fuller and more Pantene-like by paying attention to the highlights, the shapes, the shadows. What I'll often tell people to do is flip your work upside down, work on the hair upside down, because it tricks your brain into looking at it as the shapes and shadows and clumps that it should be instead of those individual strands. For whatever reason, all of us want to draw hair by putting in a bunch of strands. That's not what hair looks like when you look at a photograph or you look at somebody. I mean, go look at a family member and notice the fact that you don't really notice all the individual strands of hair. You notice the clumps, the shadows, the highlights. Now, for the area around her mouth, you've actually hyped up the contrast or made the lines a bit more harsh than I would suggest, especially on this area here. Those lines are so dark that it almost gives her the illusion of having a mustache. Those should not be lines. In a face like that, you want shadows. Definitely you can have contrast, but right now they're too much of lines versus shadows. So that is something to really watch out for. On her lips, you've got the upper and the bottom lip are both the same in value. The upper lip should be darker because it's going to be cast down just the way that our lips hit. The light hits the bottom lip, so the bottom lip will be lighter. You'll want to darken up your upper lip a bit, and that will make it look more realistic. Now, onto her eyes. The eyelashes, the way that you've got them right now, they start out sort of, well, thicker than they should be for eyelashes, but they end with a thick clump at the end of all of them. What's happening is, as you're doing these lines, you're just stopping the airbrush here, and you're having a hot spot, a heavy spot at the end of each of those lashes. What you want to practice is called a dagger stroke, and I'm sure there's a million videos if you look up dagger stroke on YouTube or airbrush and dagger stroke. What that essentially is where you're starting with your line being thicker and practicing getting thin as you come out. And this is something that we use all the time in airbrush, so it's one of the first things that you really want to master. That dagger stroke is for everything. You could paint palm trees, the little branches coming off, you've got dagger strokes. On this case with eyelashes, they would be dagger strokes. They start a little bit thicker and end up thinner towards the end versus the other way around. But if you can master the dagger stroke, airbrushing in general is going to be a whole lot easier for you. It's one of those things you just get a board, even a piece of cardboard, and just practice making that stroke again and again and again until you've got it perfect. Now for her eyebrow, it would be the same thing. You would use dagger strokes. You would keep it softer. Right now it's very thick, very clumpy. For that, you want to go with more wispy lines. Keep it very, very soft. And especially in this case where she's got pale hair, that eyebrow would be much, much more pale. So that's another thing where that dagger stroke would really come in handy for you. Keep it softer. That's one of the joys with airbrushing, is that you can get these nice, beautiful, soft, realistic looks, especially once you master that dagger stroke. But you are doing great work. I love the concept of this, the balance between the human and the dragon side. Beautiful, beautifully done. Thanks for watching. If you're new to my channel, I have new video critiques every Tuesday where I'm critiquing your original paintings or drawings, my own speedy paintings, drawings, and tutorials every Wednesday, art Q&A videos every Thursday, and artist vlogs each weekend. So if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+. All of those social media sites are linked below in the video description where you can keep up with news, my newest work, and see real-time clips of whatever it is I'm currently working on. I'll see you guys tomorrow.